What's up, YouTube family? It's Ben here from BenTeachesEnglishOverseas.com. So we're going to talk a little bit today about Saudi Arabia because I believe I pretty much get asked more about Saudi Arabia than I do any other country. So I'm going to try to dispel a few myths and a few things that I hear again and again and just put out some facts, okay? This information is for you. Please take it on board if you're interested in Saudi Arabia. First thing that I'm going to tell you is, unless you are of descent from that area, you are a Muslim, you are someone who has always wanted to go to Saudi Arabia for Hajj or whatever, if you are a person not from that area or doesn't have family from that area or a background there, people are going to talk shit about you going there. First thing, point blank. Everybody's going to have something negative to say because people are misinformed and a lot of people take great comfort in stupidity. And I'm not saying that from an arrogant point of view, but it's just people don't know, and so they just want to, everybody likes to talk about things that they don't know, and I don't understand why that is, but Saudi Arabia, as I have mentioned in many videos, can be a fantastic place. It can be a lot of fun if you make it fun. But in this video today, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how I got my first job in Saudi Arabia. Okay? So, the first thing that you're going to hear again and again and again is, oh, you're not old enough, or you're too old. And this is what I heard again and again. Oh, you don't have enough experience. Oh, you don't have a master's degree. Oh, this, that, or the other. So first thing, I got my contract to go to Saudi Arabia. This was at the late 2009, which would have put me at 27 years old. And everybody told me at the time, you have to be 30 plus to go to Saudi Arabia. They won't hire you otherwise. Wrong. I was 27. No problem at all. Okay. Now, when I showed up there, was I the youngest? Nope. There was a 25-year-old guy working there. So if anybody tells you this, they are not correct. So what else? Think about this. Everybody, I get emailed constantly. You have to have 5 years experience. Oh, really? So tell me about the 25-year-old guy that I worked with who graduated college at 22. How did he have 5 years experience? He did not. Okay? It's just a lot of people want to make excuses to not do anything. And I don't understand that mentality, but that's just the way that it is. They want to say, you know what? It's not going to work anyway. Why even try? Well, if you don't try, nothing's going to happen. You're right. Okay, so that was the first myth. Now let's go into the next one. Again and again, I heard it again and again. You have to have a master's in TESOL to go to Saudi Arabia. Well, I went to Saudi Arabia and I do not have a master's in TESOL. Okay, so they hired 4 guys from my particular program. This was in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, 2009. I'm not saying that these things are static and they never change because I'm not naive and I'm not bullshitting you guys. But the fact of the matter is, this is kind of what you can expect, okay? 4 of the guys there were 4 of us. There was 1 British guy. There were 2 American guys. And then later we actually had a 5th come in, another American guy, and myself. Now you may be asking, why were they so top heavy on the Americans? It depends on their visa allocation. For Saudi Arabia, they get visas in this way. It's like, okay, this year we're going to give you so many South African visas, so many Canadian visas, so many American visas, etc. So this particular employer had a lot of American visas for that year. So when I showed up, one of the guys was about 33, I believe. Another guy was about 32. Another guy was my same age. We were like a month apart. And then there was me, and then finally a British guy who was in his mid-40s, I believe. Okay. Now for this particular contract, all of us were single at the time that we were hired. And that's another thing that you may see is they say single only. But what happens is in a lot of circumstances, you can go into the country single, and then if your employer is cool with you, and if they're willing, which most of them are, they will process the paperwork for your spouse to come over. This happened for 2 of the guys. One of the guys got married while he was there, and another one of the guys was engaged or something. I don't remember his exact status, but he brought a wife over as well. And then he ended up traveling around with her. They went to Oman and somewhere else. But again, too old. What was the deal with not having... one sec. I'm going to have to pause this. My battery's running. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that. So those were the 2 big myths right off the bat. I was too young. I didn't have a master's in TESOL. So of all of these guys, 5 guys, right? Like I said, the 3 Americans, me, and then the British guy. How many of us do you think had a master's in TESOL? 0. 0 is the actual answer. All of these guys just had normal BAs. Like one had one in history, one had one in classics, one had one from, I don't even remember, but they were just basic degrees. Like nobody even had a degree in teaching or in English. I take that back. One of the guys did have a bachelor's in English. So moving on from that point, that was a big myth, something that I'd always heard, that I wouldn't be able to work in Saudi Arabia because of these reasons. Okay, my degree is online. I got my bachelor's online. I sent them the transcript and everything online. Yes, I got the visa, and I can prove it to you because I have a copy of it in my passport. Next, my TEFL certificate. 40 hours online with eye to eye. I still got the job in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so why did I get the job in Saudi Arabia? Was I just super lucky? Because I've heard this my whole life. Like, oh, you're just lucky. You just lucked up. You just managed to get in on the ground level and blah, blah, blah. No, I busted my ass to get that job. And I went against a serious amount of opposition to get that. My parents told me that I was crazy for going to Saudi Arabia, and then I was going to get my hands cut off. Okay, that was my dad who said that. My mom kind of didn't really care. But when I told my friends who I thought would be happy for me, because I was in China at the time, you know, you hear all these people, they say, oh, I'd love to go work in Saudi Arabia. Oh, I'd love to go make that money, etc. What do you think they said when I told them? Okay, one of my closer friends, I told him, man, I'm really, really hyped because I got this job in Saudi Arabia. You know what he told me? Quote unquote, I sure hope you like sand and celibacy. See, this is like negative stuff right away. And, you know, a couple other people made stupid comments like, oh, you know, just negative stuff for no reason. But I ignored it because I had a goal in mind and I knew what I was going to do. And I used the money in exactly the same way that I said I was going to. And I was able to work my way up once I got into Saudi Arabia. And guess what? Once you have that Middle East experience on your resume, then you can parlay it into other areas and do other things that you want to do with it. But if you listen to the negative talk and you convince yourself that you can't get the job because of your age or your degree is not on the right color paper or whatever, then sure, you're not going to get it. But if you bust your ass and you work for it, I'm telling you, the stuff pays off. If you put in the work, you will not be disappointed. I've never been disappointed at having, you know, really struggled at times and, you know, put in all that legwork at the beginning. I can tell you with 110% honesty that right now, 34-year-old Ben is very, very happy that 25-year-old Ben did some of the things that he did. Okay? And if you're watching this video and you're 35 or 37, just don't think of it like that. Just thinking, the future me is going to be happy that I put in this groundwork right now. So that's my advice. Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. Don't disqualify yourself. Number one disqualifying factor, if you need to rewatch that video, do it. And all of this relates back to the video that was on fire last month, in which I talked about my number one regret, listening to people's bullshit. Don't do it. Listen to what's in your heart, listen to what's important to you, and you will not go astray. I promise you. For this video, Saudi Arabia. If you want to do it, do it. Take care.